Namaste, welcome, beautiful souls. Welcome to the 17th day of my Advent calendar. I have been carrying on with sharing the card that I have been drawing for my feelings diary. You may choose to call it by a different name. Just going to do it right in front of me today. And one of you reached out and asked about the Tarot Avatar deck. Here's my card for today. Invincible. I'm going to choose my word as invincible. Looks a bit like a superhero. Just going to put it down here while I write that in my book. And so I went to Gabby Angus West's website for Tarot Avatar, and I see that the website is there, but the shop is not open. And there is a sign that says the shop is under maintenance. And just so you know, that doesn't mean that the shop is closed forever. That it is very likely you will be able to get the deck in the not too distant future. So that I just thought I would share that with you, because in your message it seemed you were concerned that you would never be able to get the deck. Invincible. And I'm going to put as my opposite word today, vulnerable. And play with those two experiences. So on that note, my tarot tip for today is that you do not have to have the exact deck to do the kind of exercises that I am suggesting. And I know that should go without saying, but I just need to say it. The reason I chose Tarot Avatar was because for me it evokes tremendous emotion. There is a response almost to that deck that I cannot explain. And so for that exercise, that's the kind of thing you want to feel when you're looking through the tarot decks you have, whether you have 3 or whether you have 33 or 333. Same exercise. You don't need to go and buy Tarot Avatar for that exercise. Now, the same for today, and I want you to start to think outside the box, because today, the thing you can do with the tarot deck that is not do a reading is to create a sigil, a personal symbol. And before I get to that, I want to say good morning to Clevis and Donna. Good morning to you. And Dee, welcome. Looks like everybody's enjoying a meal while Sadhana's on. I was going to say working, but this hardly feels like work. All right, where's my deck? Here is my deck. So you can see that the table next to me is a little different, and I will play with the light. And the deck I have out here today is the transparent. And I'm not sure why I'm shuffling. I'll shuffle for doing a reading, but I want to talk about this practice of creating a sigil with the tarot. Now, this deck is absolutely brilliant in that regard. And I say, why am I shuffling? Because I don't think that you would do this by choosing cards. I don't think you would necessarily draw cards. And we'll see about the degree of light. And the zoom. Okay. Actually, that's a really good one for the base, and I will turn it over. Now, if you were not working with a transparent tarot, what you would be doing is getting some tracing paper. And not necessarily even having tracing paper. You may just simply be looking for a symbol on a card that you resonate with. So let me give you an example. Now, I've got different light going on here, so just a second. I'm going to have to get creative. I'm going to pick the cup from the Queen of Cups. Let's see, that's what I was thinking of. And this is quite ornate. It's a cup and it has two pieces coming off it with little angels, but you just might want to choose a cup, a chalice as a symbol. Sorry, I'm not explaining this very well. A talisman, a symbol, is something that gives you strength. It helps to build trust in your gut. It is one that feels like a layer of protection. And perhaps this mighty symbol in this deck of the trunk of the tree, this is the Hierophant, feels like what you need to be strong on this day, on this week, on this month, through this event. And then I would look for at least one other symbol in the tarot that I'm going to layer on top of that. Now, obviously, I'm not going to put the chains on top of the devil. I'm not going to strangle my tree. Maybe what I need is a voice of truth to help me with that. Good morning, Mary Beth. Something kind of powerful about the wheel. And maybe there is a general mood of a card. And I'm looking at this Three of Wands and the way that these three figures are coming together. It feels really strong, like teamwork. And so maybe what you need is the strength of tradition to continue to bring us all together through this change. And so let's say that This is exactly what I am working with. So then you can take these layers and trace them, sketch them, photograph them, and then print them. And you're going to put this in your, inside your phone case. You're going to put it in a little plastic sleeve. I'm thinking like a card protector you would have for a collectible card, so that you could carry this around with you. I'm not suggesting that you carry the cards. Now, years ago, when I was with Emily Carding studying this deck that she made, I created this sigil that felt, and I still really like this, and I keep this close to me all the time. And there's just something about, we've studied the tarot for a long time. You, me. And there are certain energies in the tarot. There's certain cards and certain little things that really resonate with us and kind of energize us. It makes us feel happy and charged when we see them in a reading. And so take those bits and pieces and create yourself some sort of a talisman sigil from a tarot deck that you love. Okay, this is something that, I don't know, it really resonated with me, and I just wanted to share that with you. All right, let's shuffle up and do a reading. And why don't we focus on layers of protection? Our relationship with boundary. Because that is another important question in the particular Decan card that we're still working with. And exploring our relationship with boundary is a wonderful exercise to do when Saturn is in your field. Okay, one more shuffle. And this deck, by the way, shuffles just like any other tarot deck. I suppose that when the issue of boundaries arises, we kind of need to know who we are. We need to know what we stand for, what our truth is, what we're willing to stand up for or not. And we need to know our own voice. And kind of interesting, isn't it, Dee, that this is a word that came to mind when I saw the Chariot card. And then we have this mighty force here. And I like this reflection. Hard, unyielding, untouchable. And so this point perhaps needs to be, for me, needs to be reflected on a little further. So how does the Queen of Swords sit with you in terms of boundaries? Protection. I think of a little 5-year-old girl who I admonished yesterday. And in what I think is a loving way, and yet I admonished her for admonishing another. And so I think there's something here. There's something here about a reflection on boundaries and protection, and perhaps the purpose for it. I really like what Dee said. I think it's an important part of creating boundaries, because once we create a boundary, we may give the perception of not wanting to be touched, reached, contacted. And so for each of us, this figure may seem a little different as part of a boundary setter. Can lay this on top, can lay it to the right or to the left. Let me zoom out a little bit. This is the 20th Arcanum. So how about this? In creating a layer of protection, in creating a boundary, there's a truth. a transformative power that you can work with that isn't available when this boundary doesn't exist. And through creating perhaps very specific times of solitude, Wow. You are able to understand and realize what this freedom gives you. And I love all of these comments about her. I feel this is a pretty clear message about the beauty of creating opportunities for yourself to work, to live, to be within a layer of protection that brings out something in you that you may not be able to work with publicly. And I respect very much what Clevis has said here in that was it Clevis? Sorry, I don't know where it was in the comments. Oh, here, yes. And perhaps it's you yourself that in creating this boundary, it gives you an opportunity to know and to practice finding your word, finding your strength, finding your voice. And it gives you this special space in which to do it. The experience of the hermit need not be 24/7. You know, sometimes we dread having a card such as that for an entire year. Some people might rejoice in it, while others dread such an experience of being alone. And yet there's something very potent that is shining through these layers. And that is through this experience that you create for yourself, a new even, a unrealized potential lies within. It's the hermit. I mean, it's a lot putting the phoenix on top of the light that is arising from the mountain. I just had another idea. And that is, it's almost as if there is there's a darkness within the mountain. There's a darkness within the mountain that we are being asked to venture into. And that might be part of this story as well. That your truth, your voice, what you're ready to learn about yourself can only be realized if you're willing to wander into the darkness. I don't know, it's quite a powerful group of cards. So sit with that and let me know how that might give you something to reflect upon for this day. And like I said, try to do this with some tracing paper, even tracing paper at a window, looking for symbols in a deck. Where's the deck that we used yesterday? I must have put it away. Looking for symbols in a deck that just resonate with you. You know, we can take apart pieces of a deck. Not literally, you know, cut it up. Well, you can do that as well too. And if you do have a deck that you are cutting up, like in one of the exercises I suggested more than a week ago now, maybe there's little pieces in a deck such as that. You could actually cut out bits and pieces and put them together to create a sigil. And it feels very much like our sigil has been created for us in the reading today, or at least a theme anyway. So thanks for joining me this morning, and I will see you tomorrow for the 18th day of December. Namaste.